Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is it really true? Is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show. Everyone and anyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smartass than a dumbass. Because, guys, 33 and a half years ago, almost 34 now, baby, I was a dumbass. But today, almost 34 years later, through the grace of God, I can honestly say now I'm a smartass. And yes, the word ass is in the Bible at least 40 times, and it means donkey, and that's what I was. I'm saying all that to say this. There are a lot of people out there struggling, a lot of people out there trying to get help. I'm here to help you. I'm a nutritional health coach. I'm also a recovery coach. All my services to you are free. Please, please reach out. Guys, if you think my book can help someone, because I sure do, you can go right to Simon & Schuster's bookstore, Archway Publishing, Archway Publishing, BAM, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. And guys, listen to me. You can go to my website, www.geripetito.com. My book is now on audio as well, with my voice. Simon & Schuster wanted to do my book, but with someone else's voice. And I was like, no way, this is my passion. This is me. So my producer, Ruben here, is now doing audiobooks with your voice if you are an author. Okay? So also subscribe to the Geri Petito Show YouTube channel. A lot of great shows there. And listen carefully. If you truly, truly, truly cannot afford my book, please reach out to me about that as well. I'm here to help you. So, guys, I have two beautiful young women with me today. Okay? So I'm going to introduce them, first name only, Diana and Ashton. First off, say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Say hi, loud.
Hi.
There you go. Now I can hear you. So I'm going to have you guys give your full names, but they're with W.I.L.D podcast. So, Diana, you start. Tell everyone who you are.
Hi, everyone. I'm Diana KOUPRINA, and I'm proud to say finally I am an author. I actually wrote a book. It's a big book, surprisingly. I didn't realize I was going to write 400 pages, but I did. That's about it. Otherwise, I'm a producer and co-host of W.I.L.D the podcast with Ashton. And we are also starting a nonprofit known as W.I.L.D, a nonprofit focused on eradicating domestic violence within our communities and, well, hopefully nationwide through the ability to communicate through the internet, giving everyone a voice to share their stories and get published in an anthology, come on the podcast, whatever you need to do to feel inspired to get you from just surviving to thriving. Ashton,
Beautiful.
your turn.
Beautiful.
That was great intro. Hello.
thank you.
So, wait,
I'm
one second.
Ashton Ryan.
1 second, guys.
Yes.
Producer, put me down alone and put the two women on top. Okay? You have my logo? Okay. So now, Ashton, sweetie, tell everyone a little bit about you.
Hi, my name is Ashton Ryan. I am a photographer. I helped Diana publish. I've been creating some lifestyle magazines. We just put out, I guess it's been like a month now, the third issue of Wild Homes and Gardens. Is like my baby right now. Although Diana's book is also my baby. I have a lot of babies. What else? Diana introduced us so well. Co-host with Diana on our podcast. We've created this nonprofit, and our reach is all over. Every time I look at our website stats, I'm seeing all different connections all around the world. So we're connecting, and it's the internet, and I am grateful.
That's
and
beautiful.
I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. I apologize. We've had some tech issues this morning. Gino, put me back on top and put the ladies low because my logo's cutting into your heads. All
Yeah.
right? So leave it. Now bring the other lady down with her. Perfect. Why? All right, so put me back down. All right. And now, I know, but I don't want the logo hitting into their heads. Okay. All right. He'll make the logo a little smaller, ladies. I'm sorry about that. This is my first show after the new year back here in the studio, and we had to revamp everything. So, all right. So now, first of all, you guys are amazing. And, Diana, you and me have done this before, and it's been amazing. And now I'm here with Ashton, and what you guys are doing together is amazing, and especially with your nonprofit and the reason and what's going on. Tell me a little bit about what made you get into that.
You start, Diana.
Okay, I'll start. It's always been a passion. I stopped writing for a long time, and I went to business school and was working on my MBA and being stateless, so can't really work in the US. I didn't have any rights. And I started learning, and I realized what has been lacking for me as someone who's really hit rock bottom and didn't know how to really survive, and the lack of really resources, because there's so much research that forces an individual to do, or even if you're a survivor and you want to write about it, there's just not enough resources. And I realized, well, through the internet we can really connect everyone together, and instead of giving voices to the marketers who are saying, I'm going to charge you this and I'm going to get you published, we decided to give it back to the survivors and the victims and really develop this where we're not charging you. Let's create something together. And maybe by uniting all our stories together, we can actually start healing. Because to this day, trauma, rape, they're such taboo topics. Addiction, we're not talking about them as openly as we should be, considering there's so many people affected by it. So that was my initiative. And then Ashton just magically appeared 3 years into my dream. I was just floating around and she appeared, and somehow that connection just began to thrive. And the funny thing is, we've never met in person. This is all we're doing through the internet. I feel like it's a blessing. We haven't even fully been at it for a year, but we continue to be moving on up.
So, Ashton, have you had any trauma?
I know I haven't had trauma like a lot of the people that I have met. I've suffered loss, of course, and things, but no, I don't have. I just have always. I was a journalist. I'm a reporter. I thought I was nosy, and I was just maybe a good listener. But truly, people, for whatever reason, tell me things, and I have the heart. I mean, I cry, of course, and my
Yeah.
heart breaks, and I might sit on it, but people tell me these things, and I've met people. I meet people everywhere. Every time I travel in an airport, I usually end up following a new Instagram or something. Like, I'm that type of person. And so I'm like the connector. My friends say that. They're like, you're the connector. Somebody's like, oh, this happened to me. I'm like, oh, I know someone who that happened, and they had this resource, or they didn't have this resource, and we now have created this. And Diana touched on it too. A big thing for me has always been to talk about it, get it out. And I have stumbled upon some things I've learned how to, resources, websites. I've learned how to do a couple different things that I can truly have a place for people to talk about it and to connect with other people who are talking about it, even reading about these things. So that was a very, I don't know if that covered it exactly,
Yeah,
but
no,
that's how I'm involved. And that's where my heart is here. My heart is here. And
I was just going to interject with that Ashton, you just have heart. I think that's what it is. Because if it wasn't for our connection, I probably would have not finished my book. Because I remember when I was on Geri's show, and I'd written a children's book, and I can't say it was a good success, somewhat of a failure. But again, I was working with zero money down, so really I wasn't really even investing, not even in Illustrator. It was just to see what I could get if people would
Mhm.
actually be interested in reading what I wrote. And then when we connected, Ashton, I think I was 10 pages in after talking to Jerry and being like, yes, I'm writing this book. It's called Borderline.
Yeah.
Gonna get it done in a year. I don't know what I was saying, Jerry. I didn't really think I was gonna get it done in a year. But surprisingly, and
Yay.
through Ashton's just cheerleading and getting in this rhythm where I was just literally emailing her chapters daily, which was this routine. I really miss it, Ashton. We need to
I know, I know. I told you Christmas time, I was like, what is missing from my morning? Like this, and I finally figured out, I'm like, oh yeah, reading to see like what you're something. We had a whole, like, of course.
Yes, and then just
Very excited
even
about that.
knowing that you're actually reading the chapters and you're highlighting them and you're printing them, that was so inspiring as a writer for me to see. That was the push I needed to really just get past myself and let the spirit voice take over. And whatever I got out, I got out. And I like to think of it as just completely just writing through something else. Even though my memories came back later, like after I wrote the chapter, I didn't want to go back and fix them because in that moment, I didn't have that memory. Or like I talked to my sister and she's like, oh, you can't remember what song you danced to with your father on your wedding day? I was like, I couldn't remember it. I was writing the chapter, I couldn't remember it. And she's like, oh, it was Tiny Dancer. And then it all came together for me. But when I was writing it, I could not remember it. And I left it in the book the same way. And I think I don't know where I actually was going with that, but I hope that it's just that type of writing. I don't know if there's other writers who can connect with that. I think Jerry, you can connect with that, where you just let the spirit voice
That's
kind of
right.
take over.
That's right.
Well, don't they even say, like, I, of course, like some of my favorite writers, I love Anne Lamott, I love Natalie Goldberg. So everything together, those ladies, one of them said, and maybe neither, don't quote me,
Right.
but something along the lines of like, you don't even know what you're going, like, you don't even, like, you know what your book is going to be. And perhaps you have an outline, and some people have more outlines or less outlines, but it takes over. And
It does.
you don't even know what's going to come out.
It does.
Like, and it's worded so eloquently when one of those ladies said it, and it's so perfect. Like, it sums it up for me. And I haven't written memoir. I've written more, I mean, fiction based on life. Isn't fiction all based on life? So, like, as it comes out, I'm like, because it's happened, but I'm like, oh, I didn't even see where this was going. Like, it's the coolest thing, but it
Yeah,
also is scary.
yes, because
So
I really didn't know where this was going. I think we started with a poetry book.
Yes, that I was gonna say that you were like, but I have this memoir, and I'm like, I love to read memoirs. I mean, this is truly like, I love to read. I love biographies. I love memoirs. So it's like a dream to see it happen, transpiring from the beginning, or from when you began writing it, I should say, not from the beginning. But it's like, it's just so cool. There's nothing. It's real. It's life.
so wait, I have a question for you ladies. A couple questions first. What state do you each live in?
I am in Massachusetts, so I'm in
Okay.
Boston, Massachusetts.
And where were you from? Tell everyone.
Oh, where I'm from originally, I was born in the former Soviet Union.
Yep. That's right. I love it because I've been there. We talked about that. Okay, one of my
Mm.
favorite trips. Even with machine guns pointed at me in the 80s. I loved it. Okay. So now,
Awesome. That
oh,
does sound awesome.
oh yes. So now, what state do you live in?
I live in Florida, and
Um,
I was born and raised here.
okay. So so you guys met on the internet, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just like by
I
fluke?
started following Diana. So this, I'll tell you this because I don't know if I've ever told you this, Diana. Maybe I have. I love to read. I have no idea how. It was suggested based on my other groups. Her group that she had, a writer, well, I can't remember which one initially, a writer's page. And your name stuck. Diana Couprina. I remember like later on being like, oh my gosh, I've read her poetry often and like, anyway. So all that being said, I found it and I followed it. And this was years ago. This like 2 or 3 years ago, I
Okay.
should say, right? 3-ish
Yeah,
years
probably when I was just starting and playing around, I probably had just written the children's 900 pages.
Okay.
Pages. Whoo! Words. Words.
Oh, I was gonna say.
I wrote
Okay.
900 words, not pages. Dyslexic mind. Keyword words. Um, and I was just honestly just testing it. And I read somewhere that an author should, if you want to be a writer, if you want to get published, you want to get picked up by traditional publishing, you should, in today's market, brand yourself, get yourself followers, and so on and so on. I'm like, well, I have all this free time. I can't work in America. No paperwork. At that moment, at that time, I was completely undocumented. So I guess illegal. And that's,
Okay. How are
I don't
you
know.
now? Are
I
you?
did all of it.
Tell me
But
your status now in the U.S.
I am actually acknowledged now to be as a stateless person
Beautiful.
in the U.S. and
Okay.
I have rights, so I am allowed to work in the U.S. I
Beautiful.
just can't travel because I don't have a passport.
Okay. Okay.
And so
Out
you
of
can't
the
really.
country. You can travel between the states, right?
Yeah, I can travel
States
between
now.
the
Yes.
states. I
Yes.
can't travel from country to country because I don't have a passport.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
a part of being stateless.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which is a whole story in itself. And you
Yes.
touch on it in your memoir, but I mean, there's so many legal and the shady attorneys. I mean, there's so much
Yeah.
involved.
Well,
that-
you don't know this about me. She may know. Diana may know. I went to the borders with one of my producers here last year, and we spent 5 days at the borders with the Border Patrol and the Sheriff Department, and it changed my life.
Ugh.
And back in the 80s, I was in Russia for a month. I was in Asia for a month. Had machine guns pointed at me at China, at the wall, at the Russian wall. I mean, so I've do all that. I protested with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. pre-COVID in Trenton, New
Ugh,
Jersey
love
for our
him.
constitutional rights. You know, we won both times, thank God. But so I love all this and I get into it and but hearing her story is unbelievable to me and she's so young, you know.
Mhm.
Okay, so continue. I just had to share that.
Oh no, now I'm just stuck on Jerry, you're traveling the borders, and I'm just curious because my story is, I came to the U.S. I was very legal. Nothing happened out of the ordinary. I just happened to marry a U.S. citizen, and somehow that affected the rest of my paperwork. But I never knew what was actually happening in the border because I'm so Americanized. But I am always so curious. What is even the immigration argument? Because for me, it's just how the paperwork is, and I'm always curious how people are like sneaking through the border and so on because
Okay.
I just don't get it.
I
It's
can
it's really tedious
Do you
paperwork.
want me
I
to
don't
tell
know
you
how
on
it
air or do you
works.
want me to tell you off air? Because I can, in 5 minutes, I can tell you.
Oh, I want to hear.
All
But
right.
I don't know how you
Okay.
I don't know if the audience wants to or
No,
not,
the
but
audience
yeah,
wants to
it's
hear.
one
The
of those
audience
things
wants to
that
hear. Trust me when I tell you. My shows after that were going crazy. People want to know. They want to know the truth. And my followers trust me. And not many people could say I spent 5 days at the borders with the Border Patrol and the Sheriff Department. So I did, and I watched what was really happening, guys. So I'm going to tell you how it happens, okay? First of all, we went to the one legal border in Yuma, Arizona. Okay, I was hugging them. They were under tents being fed. They were doing it the right way. Then we went to all the illegal borders, but then we went to the most dangerous one. So the sheriff that we hung out with said, your choice. Tonight, we can go to the most dangerous border. If I get shot, grab my gun, get in a car, and leave me, which we wouldn't have done anyway. I said, I'm in. I'm in. So we go, thank you, God. Well, the cartel had all their lights on us, and they're blinking their lights, letting us know we're watching you. They didn't shoot. They didn't do anything. They didn't get real close to us. We did what we had to do. We got back in the car and we left. Okay. Now, the other borders, the illegal ones, all night long, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. They gave me money, souvenir, that they were trying to give to try to buy their way in. I've got bills from China everywhere, okay, everywhere. Anyway, so this is what I learned. The majority of all the children that were with these people at these walls weren't even their children. They were bringing them in for child trafficking. That's number one. Number two, the cartel. Let's talk about that. So I said, I don't understand this. Why would anyone want to be a part of it? And the sheriff said, let me give you a scenario. Say a man dressed really beautifully in a beautiful suit walks into your studio with a giant bag of money, and you know who he is, and he puts it down in front of you. Do you want this bag? What are you going to say? I'm going to say no. And you have that right. But he's going to leave and he's going to wait for you. So when you leave the studio, he's going to kill you.
Mm.
So it's almost at this point, and that's why I don't know, I don't care who you guys voted for. I'm not getting into all that, but I'm glad who got in because of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as well, especially with
too.
the health stuff, okay? And like I said, I met him. I have a photo with him. We protested together. And
Send me pics of
I
him.
will. Okay, I'll send you. Remind me, and I'll send
I
you.
love him.
Listen, you send me pics. I'll send reminder. I'll send you everything. So listen. So I said, here's the problem here today. So many people are in the cartel because they'll get killed if they say no. I'd rather get killed and go meet Jesus. Okay, I'm going to just say that. But anyway, it's so difficult right now, Diana, with what's going on. We are talking about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people within 3 hours coming around the walls. What we witnessed was unbelievable. And it's almost like we can't stop it yet. But I think over the next 4 years, it's going to be stopped. One more sad thing. I grew up in Long Island City, New York, in Queens, okay? My father owned our 3-family apartment building back then. We moved when I was 12. I'm 63. And my grandmother lived in the building, my aunt, that's how it was back then. Across the street was my other aunt, I went to visit that lately, okay? Last summer, a friend of mine drove me. I said, let's go see my apartment building. I want to get a photo of me standing in front of it. We come on my road, 47th Road, my little road, and there's a restaurant on one end with awnings, this giant restaurant on my block. But on the other end is a motel. So I called my cousin who still lives in Long Island City, and I said, Pat, we have a hotel on my road? She goes, yeah, it used to be for the veterans. Now it's for illegals. They threw the vets out and yes, all illegals. My father's rolling over in his grave. My father's whole family came here legally from Italy. Okay? So
Oh, that's the hard part, and I'm trying to really understand, like, what is even defined as illegal? Are they just not doing the paperwork? Are
the
they just
paperwork,
getting
it's the
snuck through
paperwork.
the border and then saying,
Making
"Here's
sure
the
you're
limit
not a
of your
criminal.
social security number"?
Yeah, making
Well, and I
sure.
don't think it's the people. What I have seen, and of course, just a conspiracy theory. And I live in Jacksonville, and I volunteered for a couple different I've just met these random people that work for different nonprofits regarding human trafficking, and a lot of the things that they've said about these camps that they're setting up. It's all boys, it's men, it's military, it's their military, it's cartel boys, and like the kids that don't go, like, it doesn't make any sense. There's
That's
not
right.
women and children. It's not
Okay.
this like sanctuary, right?
Okay.
And I'm just
Right.
but I've my what surmised from little bits and pieces, and so I think that's the problem, right?
So I'm assuming the basic laws are just not being enforced at the border, because there's the specific law where, yes, people are allowed to ask if you're on U.S. soil, you are allowed to declare yourself as a refugee. But there's a paperwork process, and I'm just wondering, so how are they skipping even this process? Are they just like,
Like what she was saying, the illegal borders, right?
Yep. They're
That's what
skipping
I'm
it
guessing because I'm curious.
because there are
that's
a lot.
what the illegal
The
border
majority of
is,
them are
really?
criminals, and they're also a lot of people in politics are criminals. Let's just put it that way, okay? And they're part of the cartel. So that's the answer, Diana. And I know it's hard to handle because it's so heartbreaking, especially when children are involved. So the government, a lot of people in the government are part of the cartel. A lot of them are dangerous people, and they're bringing them here for the children. There you go. Very sad. So
It's
now,
such a sad truth, and the thing is, it doesn't surprise me.
I know. It's so sad, right? So sad. So now let's talk about happy stuff, you ladies. Okay, with what you're doing, I love it. So now let's talk about your books first off. All right? So, okay, Ashton, she talked a little bit about her book. Let's talk a little bit about yours.
Okay, so I have a lifestyle magazine, a women's lifestyle magazine. That's what I was talking about. The third issue we just released.
Okay.
It's everything related to women. I haven't really. It's a lifestyle magazine. We have art, we have poetry, we have healthy living, travel. Like I said earlier, I meet all these people, all these different. lately it's, you attract what you put out. So it makes sense. The last couple of years I've just have met every single person that I just have been looking for, and I have used this magazine to share everything that I come across. I mean, like authors, I keep meeting these different authors who meet, and I'm just meeting all these different people. So this magazine is that. Um, I was a reporter, and I have a photography business, and I shoot mostly weddings now. So I love all things photography. So with this magazine, I've gotten to work with other people and offer branding shoots, and it's just there's all different little facets. But I have a 5-year-old who I'm homeschooling. So the last few years, I'm home more. I have just been living slower, much slower, have slowed down so much. And so this is my outlet. This is my creative outlet, my passion project, if you will. And I knew it would continue after when the first issue was out, and there were still people talking about things that they had. Because I'm a like type of artist that's like, oh, I feel like I'm gonna use all this ideas, like like, oh, I hope I don't run out of ideas, or I hope I don't run out of whatever it is. And I know that's never going to happen. After the first one, I'm like, oh, there's so many more things that have to do with our lifestyle. Like that's the most vague and broad. So from Wild, I had this idea. I've always been called Wild. I've lived a wild life, all those things. So wild has always been in my vocabulary, and I love it. It's a good thing. Like people,
And you don't
sometimes
look
say,
like you. Listen, I lived a wild life too, but I'm older now. But you don't look like it. You're still young that you were this wild person. I love it. Go ahead.
oh, well, that's great. That's great. It's the lighting. But so in my head, I was like laying in bed probably 2 years ago, and I'm like, Wild, what I love doing. And I don't know why that, like, I needed to have that, but I'm like, what I love doing. That is literally encompasses so many things, and all these people that I meet that we get to share and we love to share. So I'm like, Wild Homes and Gardens, this is it. And now I have this magazine. And from there,
And
that's
don't
what I was.
forget Wild Press.
I was just gonna say. And so from there, we have Wild the podcast, we have Wild Press, and
Wild the
Wild the
nonprofit.
nonprofit.
And you're also pretty good at cover design.
That's
Yes.
so cool.
Yeah,
Yes.
she put the cover together. I think this is big enough to really see the cover
Yes.
too. But
Yes.
I mean, I just texted Ashton and I said, okay, I'm rethinking the cover. It was going to be just a heart shaped cover, nothing special. I'm like, I don't know. The cover needs to say where I've been and where I am. And it literally, I think it does. It literally goes the journey.
I love it.
Disregard that center line. That's the author cut. We're waiting eagerly for our
The heart,
books to
yeah.
arrive, our hardcover and paperback to arrive.
I
So
love it.
disregard that.
Absolutely love it.
But Diana, everything we've created together, because we put a few things out together. Your ideas, you're wonderful with your words. Like the way you described it was so simple. Like I've designed things with people before that they just couldn't articulate what was in their mind and get it out. And I understand. That's probably how I would be on the other side. You articulated it perfectly.
I can do that with words. I cannot draw that.
That's
I
so
can
funny.
see it. I can describe it, but I cannot, let's say, draw it. Like my daughter, she can draw it. Oh, I can't.
So
Like,
cool.
you tell her something, and she's like, "Ooh."
That's awesome.
That's cool. So yeah, I went to art school in New York, School of Visual Arts in '79. So I'm an artist and a poet and all that. It's being creative. You have to be whatever your gift is, and I'll be reading a poem out of my book called Utilizing Gifts and Talents, because whatever you're born with, whatever gift you have to utilize it or you'll die. Your soul will die. So what you ladies are doing is amazing. Especially, listen, Dana, can you share a little? It's up to you. You don't have to.
I can. I prepared. I don't know how my reading skills are.
All right.
I will be honest. I am not the writer that enjoys reading my own work because I'm so judgmental.
Okay.
So anytime I go to read my work, I'm looking for error. So I have not practiced, but I did highlight a little prose because I know the title can be a little deceiving. It says poetic memoir, and
Okay.
people assume it's just 400 pages of poetry. It really is not. It's a lot more prose than poetry. And yeah, I can share a little. I
Share.
found little chapters that I can actually just share that would take, I don't know, a minute to read, I would imagine, maybe two.
Okay.
This is from book one, and it's chapter two, titled I Am Nothing. Being awake was the real nightmare. The summer after graduating eighth grade is blurry in my mind's memory. The images almost morph together, and it is hard to separate them. It is in moments like this I wish I had all my old journals. They are now forever gone and destroyed. I used to write prolifically. That was my only escape from my inner turmoil. I wrote poetry and prose. The poetry was my soul screaming out its truth. The prose was written in case someone reads my journals, as my mother had done once, right after the incident. That was a horrible night. The things she read in that journal must have turned her stomach, as my memories of the rape were fresh back then. A wound that wouldn't heal. She yelled at me. The only words that can't come to mind still to describe it all are that she freaked out. I got a whooping. That's all I remember. That was also the time when someone started coming around my bedroom window. We lived in a two-bedroom apartment on the first floor. I had a bedroom in the corner, and I kept the window shade up for fresh air, without a thought that someone walking by would have any interest in watching me. Here, dear reader, I must admit, I was naive, to put it best. It didn't take me long to figure out I was being stalked, that someone was literally watching me throughout the day in my bedroom, and at night making a hole in the screen to slip rolled out $5 bills through. I took the money. I kept it. But I knew it was dirty and wrong. I felt dirty and wrong. But I almost liked the dirty feeling, the wrong feeling, like I deserved it. It didn't bother to close the shades. If my stalker wanted to kill me, well, more power to him. I would think to myself, nothing transgressed past the slipping of the $5 bills through the little hole that my stalker made in my window screen. By fall, I had forgotten all about it. Oh, that was emotional reading it.
That was
I should have
emotional.
practiced more.
Listen, that was emotional hearing it.
Mm.
So, what I want to say to you is first off, don't look for flaws in your writing because I don't hear any.
Mm-mm.
That's
Oh.
absolutely amazing and beautiful and heartfelt. Okay? I'm one of your biggest fans. Listen, I am telling you, all right, I want to say something to you then. Don't look for flaws because God gave you an incredible gift. So from now on, when you read your stuff that you write, your book, whatever it is, look for encouragement from God saying, "Good job."
Oh,
Okay?
thank you.
Because it's the
Oh,
truth.
that is so felt.
It's the truth. Okay? That's what that's what gets me through. Like I always say to people all the time, if I ask you, do you think an actor is amazing? You'll say yes if you do. Is that person beautiful? Yes, if she is or he is or whatever. We don't have a problem saying that about someone else, but we have a problem about saying that about ourselves. And it's almost like not giving God what God deserves from us because God created us and gave us these incredible gifts. So don't look for that. Don't look for flaws. Just say, thank you, God. This is incredible because He's talking through you. Trust me when I tell you. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Oh, that did heart good. Actually, to all writers, I would encourage after you publish your book, read it aloud because that was really healing.
Yep.
I must admit.
When I wrote my book in 2016, I had to go through files that I've kept from the rehab when I was 30 years old. I still have the folders and everything. I had to write myself letters. They made us do that back then. I
Mhm.
read everything. I was sitting in my office crying, saying, "This was really me," you know. But it helped me, you know, just like you reading your stuff. Okay, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, it felt. I heard my voice um crack a little even, and I can't say I'm a really nervous public speaker anymore. I host a podcast and my voice doesn't do that. And just reading my own work, just feeling those words, it really, I had that moment being like, wow, this was really me. This was happening to me. And I'm reading it aloud, and it's almost healing
Yeah.
just to
Hmm.
do that, just to release the words aloud.
Now just think, and then we'll talk to Ashton. Just think how God's using you. You know, unfortunately, too many victims aren't able to recover and now go out and help others.
Hmm.
You know, so God's using you for that. God's using me for addiction. And we got to thank Him every day for using us
Hmm.
because not many people can do it. All right. You're stronger than you think, lady. Okay. So now, Ashton, tell us a little bit about anything you want to tell us about with you, what's going on and everything.
All right. Well, hmm. I I don't know where to even begin.
Well, start
I
with being the publishing. You've been working so
Okay.
much as a
Okay.
publisher, and I think that really should be highlighted
Okay.
with everything you've
Come on.
done. Just what it looks like from your point as a publisher.
Okay.
Oh, well, it's amazing. I mean, it's amazing. I've texted you so many times, and after reading what you had written, like chapter wise, it was so personal for me reading it from an email. I'm like, oh, I want to kill that person. Oh, that like I was feeling like all things. So and other people, like I said, I'm in this circle where people are telling me these things, and so sometimes I feel really heavy, and I have to remind myself, I this is God put me here for this reason. And like I am capable. I can help however it is. Even just listening. I mean, we know how great it feels to let you know. So it's been an experience. I cried. I mean, I've cried. That's look at when I after we got our initial copy when I was reading, it's like your story. And I mean, I didn't know you at this time. So it's been an
Oh
experience. And
yeah,
like, I wondered if I could handle it. That's my job. I went to school. I have an undergrad in clinical psych, and my first job was a mental hospital, and it was a lot of people in the military. My first husband was in the military, so we were up in near military base, and it was too heavy for me. I couldn't handle it, and I had no problem walking away from it and saying like, call it like I loved college and I loved all the learning, but so I'm not, I mean, I'm pretty dedicated, but I'm also not one to, I try to walk away from something if I can't handle it and admit, so I can handle this. I love it. And I know what I was going to say. You caught me off guard. I'm a terrible public speaker. Diana is the best. And I'm like, blah, blah, blah. But it feels my little heart sending these letters to publishers, bookstores. It's my little heart is like, it feels like as if I wrote it. So there's so much feeling and so much. And so I've really been trying to like calm down, like you're the neutral, whatever the word is, conduit, so it's been an experience. I'm super high, as you can see, probably. I'm high strung. And so the last few years, I've been trying to stay more centered, try to not say yes to everything I want to say yes to. So it's been amazing long story, way longer. It's been an amazing year from last year, 2024, and then now to be able to hone my interests and make something and tangible. I mean, it's been an amazing journey. So I'm feeling very blessed. I'm super grateful for the connections, the internet, social media. People talk bad about social media, and I get it, but I'm not a doom scroller. I'm more like see a poem and then I'm stalking that person, and I've bought their books now, and that it's just so
Positive.
it's
Positive.
yeah.
Yes.
And so I'm a cheerleader. I
I
mean, there's no
agree.
doubt. I'll hype people.
Yeah,
I
me
can't
too.
help but, and even people, I've been like my boyfriend. I remember as a kid, my parents being like, "Why do you like that type of boy? Like he's a loser." And like he truly was, like stealing cigarettes from people, like a true, I'm like, oh, I don't know. I see the good. I see the light. There is some light there. So
Yes.
so not that that's the case for. I mean, I'm grateful. My circle really is bright. I've learned that you can only help somebody and maybe keep them afar, but it's taken some learning. I'm 38. I think I'm 30, 38. So here we are. The last few years have been amazing to use what I've learned. I think I told Diana I had as a reporter, I had a great resume. And now I officially have learned everything I said I knew how to do on my resume. So I like
I
that.
love
I'm
that.
like, okay.
Yes.
So I'm happy to be here. It's great.
I have a similar personality of yours. I was growing up, I lived in New York. Like I said, I went to Catholic school, which I hated. Um, and I used to steal the kids and bring them home to have lunch
Ugh.
because a lot of them were very poor and they had grants to go to the school and they would have to eat the free lunch, whatever it was. Well, the little kids sometimes would cry.
Ugh.
And I would steal the kids and say, "Come on, my mommy's making me grilled cheese. I had to have grilled cheese every day. I'm a vegan now, but I had to have grilled cheese every day." And I'd walk in, and my mom, because we lived 2 blocks right around the block, she was like, "You stole another kid. Sit down, hurry up. You guys have to eat, and I got to bring you back." You know, and that was my life. And even as an adult, my kid, my daughter says, and my grandson, "Why do you talk to everybody? You can't even walk into a store in parking lots." I said, "I don't know." I said, "I just talk to everybody." So I'm like, I'm very similar to you. But you know what? If we use it for good, it's great. All right. Sometimes our hearts get broken. We think we're helping someone or we could help that person, and you know what happens, certain things. But I'm never going to stop being me. I've learned a little bit more of how to back off from certain situations, but I'm never going to stop being me, just like you.
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
Yes, it's a learning, and I'm the type of person. I was just explaining to my 5-year-old. Some of us have to learn. He said, "Do you remember when I touched the stove when it was hot? We were making mac and cheese for lunch." And I said, "Yes." I said, "Some people have to learn the hard way. They have to do it one time." I said, "I'm like that. You might be that way, honey." It's very apparent that he is, but this is the way. And you have to know that there might be consequences. That's when that whole consequence comes in,
right.
and all the things. But experiences help you make these decisions.
That's right.
So
That's right.
that's
So
all I've
now,
got on that.
Diana, so tell
Yeah,
us a little bit more of anything you want to tell us.
a little bit more.
Come on.
What do you think? I think I covered
Well,
everything.
where
I'm
do you
still just so
see, all right,
excited about the book coming out.
where do you see yourself in 2 years? 2 years, where do you see yourself?
In 2 years, the hope is that the second book is out,
Okay.
and the title is Stateless, and that will be a memoir where I really dive into actually also using um, factual research based. So it will have obviously my memories, my story of being stateless, but I want to factual base it too with evidence from, what it does take to be legal, what kind of paperwork you need to fill out, what I've had to do to get a status in the US. And I have that 80-page um, research book that I submitted to USCIS. And I am trying to think of ways that I can actually use it now to write the next book, because I think Stateless is the next book.
It's beautiful.
What I hope for this book, for Borderline, I hope we make it to New York Times bestseller list. I know we're far from it, but there's hoping.
Hope.
Um, we're talking about it, we're sharing it. Hopefully, people actually enjoy it. I am on pins and needles as I wait for reviews. So, honestly, the thing in my mind right now is just the book. I
How can people get your book?
We are on Barnes and Nobles, on Amazon. There were a couple other sites, but I know on Amazon we are in Canada, Amazon Canada, Amazon UK.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're also in Australia, Belgium, Netherlands, of course, United States. If you are subscribed to Kindle Unlimited, it is free, and the title is Borderline. And I'm the author, Diana Caprina, and it's published by Wild Press. Thank you, Ashton.
It's
Woohoo! I
amazing.
think Abe Books, but now you should be at pretty much anywhere that distributes books.
Okay.
You covered it.
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think Amazon, but you can now go in, as I've been doing because it's so cool to see it pop up. You can go to Book Finder, anything that you would
Yeah.
search for your book, and you'll be able to see at least
It pops
6 or
up.
7
Oh, how
options.
exciting! Yeah.
All different, because some people, it's so funny because my friends are like, oh, because I'm like a hippie, whatever that even means, but natural, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
buy local, da da, and then I'm like, Amazon. I'm like, I'm not going to. I'm sorry. I will pick and choose, I guess. Whatever you call me a hypocrite, but Amazon is where it works because people have Amazon Prime. They can get it in 2 days.
Right.
So
I get it.
you
Yeah,
know,
it's,
I know you. So, but I also I'm like, ooh, what if we were like, ooh, no, we're not going to sell it anywhere, but in local. Then I'm like, well, then where do we get our reviews? Where do we get our
Right.
strange so? I'm being open-minded, as are you, Diana.
I mean,
We were
I
first
remember
talking.
when I first started with the whole writing, self-publishing, not self-publishing, and I like traditional publishing. I really do because I am hoity-toity. How about I use that word? Hoity-toity. I don't
Well,
know.
it
For some
feels
reason,
authentic or something.
it feels
Yeah.
authentic. It feels like somebody else, also believes in you, and it gives you
Mhm.
that support and that comfort.
Right.
And you're an independent publisher, and I thought I would, oh, my dream would be um, bigger publisher, traditionals, but having your support really helped me propel. And if we do end up partnering with, the top five, then we do, and that's amazing.
Mhm.
We don't, we're still gonna end up thriving. So either way,
Well,
Right, exactly. Sorry, go ahead.
no. Well, I'll tell you what happened with my book. So in 2000, now back in the day, I had poems published. It was very different back then, ladies. I could handwrite a poem and send it to a company, and I have the books on my shelves. Okay, it was very different. 2016, and Diana knows this. I was woken up in the middle of the night, and I heard a voice, "Write your book." And I giggled and I said, "Okay, Lord, you want me to write my book? Write your book." I didn't know it. It was to save two family members' lives within a month after it was out. And then it's continued. But hold that. So I didn't tell my daughter or my brother I was writing a book. I fast every year for a month. I lock myself in my house and I called them. I said, "Okay, I'm going to be fasting." They're like, "Okay." So I handwrite my book. It wasn't this big then. I handwrite my book. And now I'm like, what do I do with it? Because I'm not great with computer. I didn't know what to do. So I called a friend of mine whose uncle back in the day was a publisher. He's gone now. And she said, I could come over. I'll get it in book format. She spent the weekend. We got it in book format on the computer. And she says to me, now we're going to send it to like 20 different publishers, Jer. They might like it. They may not. It could take years. I said, oh, no, I heard Simon and Schuster. That's what I heard. I said, only Simon and Schuster. She laughed and said, okay. In 5 days, they called and said, we're publishing your book. But here's what happened. The woman who published it, and I loved her, she's no longer with them. She screwed up something. She didn't tell me that there had to be a certain amount of pages in it to have your name on the spine. All right? And you couldn't get it in a bookstore physically without that. I get a call from Barnes and Noble in my town in Hamilton. They want to put my book in their store. I go there to meet with them and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we can't blah blah blah." So I called Simon and Schuster and they said, "Our mistake. I don't care if it's 600 pages, add pages." So now it's over, it's got about now 250 pages. Okay, so they did that. But what I wanted to say was, you know, when we when we take on a challenge, right? In our minds, we're either thinking we're just doing this and nothing's going to happen, or we're thinking, okay, this is going to be huge. So we're never really in the middle. Like whenever we take on a challenge, it's either just for us, oh, this is just for me, nothing's going to, whatever. So when I took on this challenge, I knew what it was for. So me and my brother laughed because this book has cost us more money. We buy sometimes 500 books, we give them all away. He'll call me up and he'll say, okay, I was at the gas station. One of the guys needs a book. And that's okay because that's what God wanted me to do with this. You know what
And
I
that's
mean?
exactly. Sorry.
No, yeah, but that's what
The
God
sharing.
wanted me to do with
the
this.
sharing.
So
There's
everybody
literally
has their
nothing else.
purpose. Everybody has their purpose. So listen, I'm going to read a poem now. All right? And it's called Utilizing Gifts and Talents. And the reason I like to read this poem is because a lot of people listening are going to be messaging me. They always do. Jer, I loved her. I wish I could write like her. Jer, I loved him. I wish I could sing like him. Like everybody questions their self-worth, right? So I want everybody out there to know that we all have something to offer. We were all born with gifts. So if that's you listening and you're questioning your self worth, listen to every word of this poem, okay? Utilizing gifts and talents. We are born with talents, we are born with drive, with different gifts to help us thrive. I knew early on I was born to draw and paint, to also write poetry, and to talk without restraint. Our gifts and talents should all be used, God's gift to us, not be abused. We can go far in life for sure using our gifts to go on tour. All our talents should be used to create ourselves and more, but then our job's to share them, to even up the score. You see, in life, what's needed is not just for ourselves. Once our gifts are mastered, take them off the shelves. A living we can make by spreading them around, not just for the money, but to spread a peaceful sound. So don't take for granted the gifts you're given. Go out and spread the joy. Our gifts are not to be held back for us to self destroy. Put your efforts forth. Do not hesitate. All your talents, my friend, are never second rate. Never hold them back or you will surely die. Maybe not in body, but your soul will cry. Our gifts were made to share, our talents made to soar. Go through life enlightened, and then you can roar. Be proud of who you are. Be happy you're alive. Once again, my friend, your gifts will help you thrive. By putting efforts forth, not keeping them at bay, your name, Wild Podcast Baby, will live forever, forever and a day. So go through life excited for what you sure can give. To yourself and others is our reason to live. Our grave will be quite lonely, but our legacy lives on. So make sure people smile with the breaking dawn. And ladies, that's what you guys are doing. That's what you guys are doing.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
That was so beautiful. Thank you. And we can't wait to have you on later.
Tonight, they're going to be interviewing me, guys, tonight.
And you
Yes,
must
tonight
read that
it's gonna
again.
be
We've got to
live
have
at
her read
9
that.
I will
p.m.
read that tonight, I promise.
I love it. I've read your book now, and I'm so happy I got to hear that. I forgot about the poem until however long ago, whenever
You
first
sent me
came
a
on the
photo,
book.
right? You sent me a
Yeah,
photo.
so
Yes,
around
yes,
that
yes,
time
yes.
I read it, but I forgot that how beautiful that like all things. I read it and felt I probably cried. It's that. Oh, I'm glad I got to hear it. Yes, we should hear that
So,
again later.
Tonight I will
Yeah,
read it, I promise. But so listen, I'm going to give you guys the mic. You have a few more minutes each. I don't want you to get off thinking you forgot to talk about something or say something important. You know, give yourselves more perks. Tell everybody again how to get your stuff, what you're doing. Ashton, you go first.
Oh, I lost.
Okay, there you go.
Geri.
Go ahead.
Oh.
Okay.
We can hear you. Go ahead, Ashton.
Okay. So wait, did you say? I didn't
Okay.
hear the last maybe.
All right. So you have a
5
few
seconds.
minutes each. I'm going to give you each
Yep.
the mic again. I don't want you to forget anything you wanted to say. Give yourself some perks. Tell everybody again how to get your magazines, whatever. Talk about the podcast. The mic is yours.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I have Wild Homes and Gardens is available for print, and there is a digital version. You could come say hello.
Hi.
Oh, he doesn't want to. He's over it. So I'm super excited. I have something in the works. I've been reaching out to a few different people. So whatilovedoing.com is just sitting there right now. It's mine. And I am basically hoping to turn it into, it is going to happen. It's just finding the right people and it's happening. Our magazine, Lifestyle Magazine, is timeless. I don't do anything seasonal. I want you to be able to read it out of order, all the different things. The website will be the exact opposite. I want to focus on seasonal things, all the things. I have an herbalist on board. I have Diana on board. We have so many different facets. So that's coming up. Whatilovedoing.com. There's nothing there right now, but I like to say it. It's some kind of
I love you.
flows. So, and of course, issue 4 of Wild Homes and Gardens will be happening.
Whoops. Okay.
Is also
There you go.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. I see the distortion.
That's okay.
So, to reiterate, wildhomesandgardens.com is where you can find the Lifestyle Magazine. That is my passion project. It's my love. I've been able to connect people and meet awesome people and hear all these awesome stories. My heart is here. Wildpress.com is where you can find Diana's book. of course, our podcast. I'll let Diana share about her book, but for now, that's where I'll be.
All right. Thank you, Ashton. Okay, Diana,
Thank you.
the mic is yours.
Okay, well, yes, since I'm on the book hype, Borderline, available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and really wherever books are sold, I guess at this point. We're really going for it. Where can you connect with me? Diana Coprina. Really easy to find. You can even just Google me. Ashton and I are working on building an author website, but for now, Facebook will do. So I'm on Facebook. You can follow me. You can connect with me if you have questions. I'm happy to answer, especially pertaining to writing and publishing, getting your stories heard. Ashton and I are working on an anthology, poetry anthology, that is going to be released soon.
Okay.
We're just putting in the final touches. We had so many people submit their poetry, their prose. It was quite remarkable. And that's it. I can actually quickly finish off with a quick poem.
Yes.
It's short, so
Yes,
it
yes.
should be an easy read. It's
Come
called
on.
The Road on Scene, and it's in the end of the book. So here we go. Borderline.
What's the
The
title
road-
again? Wait, what's the title again?
The Road on Scene.
Go ahead.
The road on scene will become seen when you release, when you lean into the flow of what must be. Trust the process. Trust and feel. The left or right is not for you to decide. It becomes clear when trust is there. Release it all and let it be. The journey shapes your destiny. In shadows deep, the path is clear. When doubt evaporates into thin air, the left or right is not for you to decide. It becomes clear when trust is there, in the self and in the soul, where the unseen becomes felt from within. What's hidden now will soon unfold. Trust the whisper, soft yet true. It's guiding every step you do. The left or right is not for you to decide. It becomes clear when trust is there. The road unseen will be revealed when heart and mind are gently healed. Release it all and let it be. In time, your truth will set you free.
It's beautiful. Absolutely
you.
beautiful. Wow.
Can I say something else?
Come on.
One last thing about finding Diana's poetry.
Come on.
You can find a selection at wildthenonprofit.com/hearttales.
Yes, there's a selection of poetry and prose on the website of wildthenonprofit.com, and we're making more things available just because, as Jerry, you said, it's about sharing our stories and getting to those people that need it most, and the people who need it most cannot afford to purchase it. That's why it has to be also given out for free. And I feel the same way about my book. So if there's really truly someone who really needs it, can't
There you go.
afford it, we will get it to you. One
Yes.
way or another, you will get the copy. Just message us, easy to find. You can message Ashton, you can message me. Because I know from firsthand what it's like to want to read something, to want to buy it, and just not be able to afford it.
Beautiful.
And I don't want anyone to experience that with my book.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So it's Borderline. Message us, Diana Coprina, Ashton Lauren Ryan, the publisher. And if you're struggling and you feel like you need this book, we will get it to you.
I'm going to read one more small poem based on everything you just said. God's calling me to do it. I think somebody out there needs to hear this. And I usually don't do that. I think I have to. It's very short.
Let's
It's
do it.
called Put Down the Gun. And your gun can be anything you're choosing to end your life with. Okay? All right. Put down the gun. I had to have this purple gun just in case my life was done. I kept it safe, locked in my room, 'cause I was filled with gloom and doom. Yes, there were times that I just knew if I loaded it up what I could do. But I kept on hearing that gentle voice, put down that gun. You have that choice. Life may seem hard at the end of the day, but that's when you need to really pray. Dear Father, I beg you to show me the truth. How can life be so bad when I'm only a youth? Get rid of that gun and go take a shower. Ask someone for help. You do have that power. So if anyone's out there struggling right now or contemplating, you have the power to change things. Ask someone for help. Okay, call me. I don't care. You can reach out to me on Facebook. I'll get you some help. Okay? I don't know why, but God just put that on my heart, so I had to do it.
We're here for that.
Yes.
There you go.
Same way. The same way.
There you go.
You know, it's such a hard topic for me. Not hard, but heartfelt, I guess, because I've been there. I've been suicidal. I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like not to have a hard way, not a way out at all, and this is all you can think about. And reaching out for help is terrifying. But if you have one person, just one person who you can trust, it can be a stranger, it can be me, it can be Ashton, it can be Geri, just that one person to reach out and say, hey, this is what I'm feeling. I get it. You know, we'll listen. We'll tell you have a choice. And trust me, you have a choice because I've been there. And somehow I'm sitting here today saying, hi, I wrote a book. Can you believe it? It's 400 pages long. I didn't think I'd ever accomplish that. If you asked me 10 years ago what my dream was, I would have said, well, I kind of want to write, but I'm probably never going to get published. So yeah, I know what it's like to be at the very, very bottom, but life is so much worth living. There's so much you can do with your life. This is not the end. It's just that hard part that is going to make you who you are supposed to be, fulfilling your purpose.
This was amazing. So, first of all, I want to thank you, ladies, because this was truly amazing. My door's always open, and I can't wait till tonight. I'm going to be interviewed by you guys. W.I.L.D podcast, baby. My producer, he's going to be, it's already out there. It's shared. It's on Facebook. It's on my YouTube channel. I tagged you guys, but he's also going to upload it. And he's going to email me the upload probably by tomorrow. And then I'll email it to you guys so you could download it ASAP and you'll have it forever. Okay? But he's going to be putting it on like 7 other platforms next week. So
amazing.
It'll be
That's
everywhere.
amazing.
It'll be everywhere. Okay? So I want to thank you ladies for what you're doing. All right? You're heroes. You are. God is using both of you. And God bless you both. And thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank
And
you.
Geri. I'm so grateful that John Carlzini connected us. That I didn't even realize the power of this connection when you said he just randomly messaged me and said, please connect with Geri Petito.
John
And after
Terlizzi,
that-
we love you, John. Yes.
John Carlzini, big thank you for these amazing connections that forever.
You're
Grateful in my
amazing.
heart.
You're amazing. Do you know who Kevin Basker is? Quinty in the
I don't
Groove?
think so.
I could hook
don't
you
either.
up. I could hook you up with him as well for an interview. We'll talk about it, okay? Because John
Okay.
gets him interviews and me, and it's great. Okay?
We'll chat.
Yes.
He's amazing, and he's out of Canada. So,
Oh, amazing.
okay?
We love Canada.
All right, producer, take us out.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Love's the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do.
Just what to do, just what to do.
If what you're feeling is really true.
Is it really true? Is it really true?
Just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Love's the answer, the greener grass. I'm not